if you're there, it's because it's broke. You're not gonna broke it anymore, you know. So just he said, you
Yeah.
know what you're doing enough that you know what not to do. And he just kind of suggested try to get into something that you know will be around, that you know you can find work in. I grew up playing music, and like at a certain point in my life, of course, that's what I really wanted to do. I think you mentioned like wanting
We
to play sports, you
so
know.
we all have that moment,
Uh,
yeah. Hola, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Reliable Trades podcast. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and you like this video. And if you're listening to this on the audio over on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or any other platform, please leave a review. That's all free and it helps support the show and helps it get out to more people. And of course, I'm your host, Adrian Garcia. I am an HVAC technician, licensed contractor here in Texas, and I've been doing this about 18 years. And we just have a lot of good conversations with good people in different trades now, whether it's HVAC, plumbing, electrical. I've had some others in like auto mechanics, anything like that. You bring them on, have a good conversation, and hopefully get more trade awareness out there. So I appreciate everybody who's watched or listened, all the support and making this podcast successful and what it is now. I also want to thank the sponsors of the show, like Jobber, which is a CRM that we use to run our business, which is invoicing, quoting, scheduling jobs, maintenance contracts, and all our technicians on our team usually pick it up relatively quickly. I just have to show them what it is and they are able to get out there and start, invoicing. It's been great running our business with Jobber now. And if you guys want a free trial and discount, make sure to check the link down below, getjobber.com/reliable HVACR. I also want to thank Vito Pro Pack, the best quality bags that money can buy, literally. If you invest in these bags, as I did, during the whole pandemic, I ripped so many backpacks and tool pouches that I finally, I found Vito. I think there were some YouTube videos, tried them out. I did the buy one, get one, which that's going on right now. If you guys ever want to buy or try Vito Pro Pack, spring promotion is the best time of year by far. So check out Vito Pro Pack at your supply house or go to vitopropack.com to learn more. And the podcast is also brought to you by Local. Local HQ is a marketing that is geared towards the trades, and they can help you with your HVAC digital marketing so that you can dominate your local service areas with proven strategies that get your business more leads. They can help you rank higher on Google and all that you would need. So reach out to them at localhq.com/reliable and mention me or the Reliable Trades podcast and get 2 months of SEO for free. Cody, what is up, man? How are you?
I'm okay, man. How about you?
I think we were talking right before. I'm pretty beat up as well. I think the older you get, and I like in your 30s, I don't know what that is in trade years. I feel like that might be like a little bit like double because
Yeah.
you take a little longer, you get injured a little easier, you take a little longer to heal. Because for me, like trying to work out has been a hassle, not only time, but like I start pulling muscles now. It's just it is what it is, right?
Yeah, man. I've been trying to recently, and it's like I'll get in my head that I'm gonna go work out regularly, you know, and I don't know. I
It's
think
hard.
I hit like a week solid a little while back, and then it's just been
Oh,
not
that's
really
me.
happening lately.
That's me all the time. It's like, oh, I'm real good for like a week. I'm real good for like a month, and then I just fall off, and it's so hard. Um, right now it's a little bit harder because I'm trying to do all this stuff like the podcast and everything, and I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I'm trying to be better about like scheduling, but I'm also real stubborn that I don't want to interfere with like my weekends or my nights, like going out to with my family or we do barbecue every week. Like I'm not sacrificing that for anything. So like the
Nah.
free time I do
The
have is with my family.
That's yeah. I mean, that's kind of what we work for,
Uh,
to
yeah.
have what we want for our family and have time with them. It's kind of hard during the summer with our trade, but
Tell me about it, man. So summer just started. Texas, we're all year round. I do AC work all year round, but summer is a different season because it's just nonstop, having to work late. The calls come in like crazy. I get really annoyed with like nuisance calls that come in, and it's like we do commercial. So traveling, I get to a call and it's like, oh, you just needed batteries, or you just needed this, or whatever it was, right? So those are nuisance calls to me because I'm like, I have change outs to do, installs here and leak repairs, and like those are the things that I need to get done. And in the summer, it's just like you're one after another. You have to be.
yeah.
And I was doing a video that'll come out soon. I'm like, you gotta get ready, not only like your tools but mentally for summer, because it's a whole other
hmm
beast.
Yeah, man. I've kind of recently tried to keep the van in shape instead of letting it get out of shape because I know there's going to be a point where it's kind of impossible.
That's a good point because you get frustrated if you have a messy van. That's what I found, right? And I've worked with
Dude, it's so
guys
hard.
that can that are okay with working out of a messy van, and I'm like, oh, it drives me nuts, right? Which I don't mind if they know where, as long as they know where stuff is, fine, whatever. But I try to, because my dad was always on me about keeping the van
Yeah,
tidy, right? And then now I'm like trying to tell other guys keep your van tidy. So it's like one of those things. But I noticed once I did and then I got real caught up into it right before like my YouTube channel, like I started it. I got real caught up into doing that kind of stuff, and that's kind of the videos that I was doing also that gained a lot of traction. And I was like, well, this is like what I like to do on my Sunday nights or whatever, like clean up the van and kind of
yeah,
get it ready and just make sure everything has like a spot, because like that was always the thing, is like when I was frustrated on a roof, going back to the van and getting more frustrated looking for the damn part or tool that I needed, that's what drove me
yeah,
nuts.
yeah, man. Well, we like live in these things, so
Well, that's another thing, yeah.
I don't. I feel better in general if I've got like a clean van that doesn't smell awful and I can find what I want whenever I'm trying to work.
Yeah, I see you got the pack out set up there, and that's kind of what I've been trying to do too
Yeah,
in the cabin, trying to keep it tidy because, like you said, that's our second home, right? You're on the road a lot.
yeah,
You're taking a lunch in your van, stuff like that. So got to keep it, you know, comfortable and tidy.
yeah. Yeah, I'd actually decided to come out here for this because I've got a 16-month-old and he
How's that?
doesn't know that we're not the same person sometimes, I think. Like
He's
just
always,
climbing on me and everything.
yeah, man. Well, my kids are, how old are they right now? 9 and 11, and they used to follow me around all the time. Now the older one does not. He wants his own room. He wants his own space. So
Yeah.
trying to um, get used to that. But like, yeah, I remember they were always on me, and it was so difficult doing this trade. So is that your only kid, or
Yeah, yeah.
so how's
Yeah, and it is
the life of a
you
dad
know,
now being in the trades?
man, it's simplified things, honestly. I don't I know it seems crazy to say, but it's just only he matters really at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'm my own person and all that, but I do what I do to be there for him, take care of him, and I don't know, I think it makes things easier when you've got a purpose like
Yeah, I was gonna
that
say
to just
it's like
do what you need to.
a purpose or a goal, right? Like your
Hmm
kids, that's what matters. Your family, that's what matters. And like I said, like everything that I do, running a business, being in the field, I had this hobby of content creation, and it's turned into what it is now. But the goal is the kids, the family,
Hmm.
because I will not sacrifice anything for their time. So if they want to, I try to keep my weekends open. That way, if they want to do something, like even this kind of stuff, I try to do it in the morning. Right? They're still
Hmm.
kind of like waking up and
Yeah.
just getting up and playing and having breakfast, whatever. Like, and then when I finish this, what do you want to do? Right? Like, do you want to go play outside? Do you
Hmm.
want to go somewhere? Like, I try to keep that in mind at all times, and it's very different. That's why I asked, like, once you have a kid, you have that purpose, that goal, and
Yeah.
it's a big motivator for sure. Because once I had my son, like I had to grow up quickly.
Yeah.
Like the mindset kind of changes.
Yeah, for sure. Um, as far as with the trade, summertime, it's
mm,
it's different.
I was
I
gonna I was
wish
gonna
that I
say,
could be home a little more.
yeah, I was about to say what I wanted to say before was I remember when he was young and being in the trades, feeling horrible having to leave because he just wanted to be like with me, or why are you leaving? Oh, working late, doesn't I don't see him sometimes, and I do
Hmm.
refrigeration, so at that time overnight
Yeah.
calls and weekend calls, and I just felt horrible. I made sure to make all the events. That's kind of what mattered to me. I also want to thank Diversitech. They simplify your work. They have everything a contractor needs to complete a job. That goes from equipment mounting, condensate management, tools, maintenance chemicals, electrical components, indoor air quality, and much more. They have different branches under the same umbrella. More than likely, you're already using some of their products or tools. So go check out diversitech.com, and it's your one-stop shop for everything HVAC. When you start, you start from the bottom, right? You're a new tech.
Oh yeah.
You have to earn uh, your respect, your pay your dues, all that kind of stuff. And the same thing with a business. With a business, when you open one, you start again, you start over, and you have to build up. Having that flexible schedule and all that, because in the beginning, it's work, 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 right? So
Hmm.
um, that was always my thing. Is like I had to see like an end goal where I'm like, I'm doing all this work right now so that in 5, 10 years, I don't have to, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm off weekends, I'm off at 5 or 6 sometimes, and it's pretty consistent right now. I can pick him up sometime. I can pick him up from school. I can make the schedule. I can, do anything that he needs if he has events. The kids, I went to their, eat with your parents lunch thing at school. Like I was like, okay, I'll reschedule some stuff, go do that. I can do that now. I couldn't do it in the beginning. There were sacrifices,
Yeah.
and you work your way up to it. So you can, I also wanted to ask you, what do you do? Like, can you give us a little intro? Like, who are you? What do you do? What kind of work do you do?
Yeah. So I'm Cody Beck. I'm a service tech, commercial, industrial mainly. Um, I've been doing this for about 15 years in
Oh,
the HVAC trade. So
uh, did you always do commercial, industrial? Or did you start like in residential?
residential install.
Did you like it?
No, no,
So
man, I
is that
didn't.
why you
Um,
had to look for something else?
yeah, I mean, I actually did residential. I've probably done residential install as long as I have done service at this
Okay.
point. Um, because I did that for quite a while, man, and I kind of hung with it because that's what I started doing like right out of high school, was HVAC. I went to trade school. I got a job while I was in school and, had an old timer teach me how to bend sheet metal and hammer duct together and all that. and I just stuck with it. There was a period there where I kind of wanted to get away from it.
Yeah.
But I got lucky enough that I started working at a company and they wanted me to do some service. And I started, realizing how much I liked service. And that was residential. And then where I work at now, kind of got an opportunity there and just jumped in. I had never really done commercial, especially the heavier stuff, you know. But one of the guys that works there, when I was new to it and kind of nervous about stuff, we were talking one day and he said, if you're there, it's because it's broke. You're not going to broke it anymore, So just, he said, you
Yeah.
know what you're doing enough that you know what not to do. Just go for it.
Yeah, I like that advice. I know some people have that advice given to them. Um, I've heard it several times. I've been told the same thing myself too. There's a learning curve when you start. So that's the same thing I tell
Yeah.
people that I work with that are new. Like, we're there to figure it out. Like they called you for a reason. It's already broken, and this and that, and you're gonna get quicker with more experience, basically, right? So
Yeah.
everybody's frustrated when they start because you're trying to figure it out on the fly. Basically, there's no other way to do it. You said you went to trade school. Like was it what kind of program was it? How many years or how many months?
Um, it was it was like a 2 year degree,
That's
but
what I did.
some of it was gen ed kind of stuff too.
Yeah,
So,
it's like a year and a half
uh,
or less, maybe, of like
yeah,
actual HVAC. Yeah, I went through the same thing. I did a 2 year program at a community college, and
that was, yep,
yeah, that my buddy actually found it, and I, I oh, I meant to mention this on HVAC Disciples because he made that comment that he went to school with his best friend, and I think they're working together now. My
yeah,
my best friend, because I don't remember if it was that episode or it might have been actually Mark's episode, the one that I just did. But so my best friend actually found that he really wanted to work for us because my dad had just started the business, but we were gonna learn like hot food, like the hot side, right? So that's what I was like a runner. I was like a parts runner, just helping. And my buddy found the HVAC trade school that we had, and lo and behold, he kind of we both signed up, we both did all that, right? I went to go look at it because of him, and lo and behold, he kind of because he was this guy was like family to me, right? My dad
yeah,
treated him like a kid, like his son and everything. Lo and behold, he kind of turned on my or what do you call that? Screwed over my dad, basically. I don't know how else to put it, because my
yeah,
dad co-signed for him on a motorcycle, and the dude just up and left, didn't pay, and
man,
it ruined. My dad just started his business. It ruined his credit. Like it was horrible.
dude, that
So
is rough.
like I was gonna mention that in that episode because he mentioned his best friend. I was like, well, I still went because we had already signed up. So like I had all intentions to go with a buddy of mine through trade school because like, oh, we're both gonna do it.
Yeah,
And then that happened. So I went to school by myself, but I mean it worked out. And the other thing with that is like now I don't trust anybody. I've had a few people do that and it's like it's hard to trust people now. So that's a whole
yeah,
other life lesson, but I was just talking about trade school because you do get like the basics, right? And then you have to go out there and like figure out what's actually in the field. That's always the hard part.
yeah. I'm glad I did it. I don't regret it,
Me too. Yeah.
but they basically, in my experience, they basically were like, here are some gauges. Here's
Yeah.
what they do and how to use them. Here's some general knowledge, but then you get out in the field and it's a whole different thing, kind of.
And how hard was it to go from residential to like commercial or industrial?
I had enough years of experience that it wasn't terribly hard. It was a little nerve-wracking at first because you've worked on 3.5 ton heat pumps or whatever, and then you walk up on a 500-ton chiller
That's
and
always my thing
that's a different animal.
because we work at hospitals and stuff. I'm like, I will not attempt anything that's above what I do.
I like working on chillers, honestly. It's a little daunting at first, and still sometimes depending on what's
Yeah.
going on with it. But it's cool to me, that it's such a big piece of equipment, and I'll anything hydronic is cool to me. We've got a building that we take care of that's got a bunch of water source heat pumps on a loop with some cooling towers, and that's kind of neat, just to see how that works.
Yeah. And then you're responsible for that equipment. So yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, I like seeing it too, but I don't want to be responsible for it. Um, I have enough with restaurants because it's like our product, our our food, this and that. So like that's always my
yeah.
concern. And like recently, we've had so many calls just when summer started. I was like, I'll get you by, but like if a freezer comes in, that's always my priority. So right now, going forward in summer, it's just about priority and like making a schedule, making a list, and then trying to just get to everybody because it's like super hectic right now.
I can imagine that, especially restaurant stuff and refrigeration, PMs are pretty important, really. I mean, it's
You would
important
think.
anyways for other equipment. Well, yeah, not to the customer. They have
Have
to
you?
actually
So
plan
you went
ahead.
from residential to industrial, or did you do any commercial work before, like kitchen work,
Commercial and
restaurant?
industrial.
But you never did
The
restaurant work.
No, actually, recently we got a call from a country club, and the dispatcher called me and was like, "You're on call right now, right?" This was during the day, so like, luckily they didn't wait until nighttime.
Oh, okay, yeah,
But I was like, "Yeah, what? Why?" You know? She said, "Well, we got a freezer down somewhere, and like, we don't typically do refrigeration." I honestly had never worked on refrigeration, especially a freezer, but I took it and headed that way. Luckily, it was a pretty simple one. It was just a bad contactor.
there you
Uh,
go.
so
I
got it up and going.
personally, yeah, I personally love like I could do walk-in boxes all day. That's my thing.
That
I do
after
enjoy it.
going and running that, yeah, after going and running that, I would like to do more refrigeration. I think I
Yeah,
would like it honestly, and
but
it's another something different.
oh yeah, and that's honestly what keeps me intrigued. Like throughout my calls, during the day when I get an AC call, because I like we're a kitchen company, so I advertise and I want more like commercial refrigeration work. And it's like, well, we started
Hmm.
doing AC work because they wanted us, like, we're there, check the AC.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, okay. So we do both, but a walk-in box, ice machines. I know people hate ice machines, but a walk-in box, an ice machine, ice cream machine, they're all very different, and it's very interesting to see how they work, and then trying to figure out like the problem with them.
Yeah. We have I'm sure it's probably a thing where you're at. I would think Ferguson Supply.
Mm-hmm.
We have one of those, and they've got an ice machine in there. And I got a call for it recently, so I got to mess with an ice machine some, and I didn't mind it too bad. The kicker with those things is just having to wait.
Yep.
Kind of it's kind of a hurry up and wait situation, but
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. Cool to see how it worked and watch the whole process.
Yeah. Like that is refrigeration though in a nutshell, just in general. Because I did a walk-in freezer the other day. I'm not leaving unless I actually see it getting to temp
Hmm.
because I know Rich in Kitchens had commented one time. We were talking about freezers or something, and then he's like, if you can't leave until it's under like 20 or 18, something like that, because like sometimes they get stuck at a certain temperature, and then you got to call back. So
Yeah,
refrigeration is always about the time, and I try to tell the customers like I'm gonna be there and I'll fix it, and then I gotta wait a little bit. So like, there's always this time of letting the unit run, and also if it's like user error, because like, do they leave the door open? Do they is there something else going on? I've had people turning off breakers because they don't want to be in the freezer when it's like running, so they go and shut off the breaker, and then I get a call and I'm like, your breaker's just off, and just flip it back on. So it's always like, it's always fun.
Yeah. Um, you're talking about waiting. The freezer that I went on, they actually called like a bunch of other companies around the area, and I think us and one other company were the only ones that said they would even come look at it. So by the time that I got there, they had already technically lost some product because, it had gotten above zero, and they were going to have to restock it for like a big event the next day. So I sat with that one until it was below zero again because I was just like, this is a contactor, but as soon as I leave, without making sure it's good, it it'll go back down.
Yeah, I had that issue
Like I'm,
with a freezer. Actually, the one I posted yesterday, and I've gotten several different like messages and comments about it. And it's the new electronic stuff, right? So I'm
mhm,
still figuring out how some of that works because we never saw like the first wave of it. Because I live in an area, it's not super high end area or anything like that. Like we had mechanical up until a couple years ago, maybe a year ago. We started seeing all the electronic stuff. So I didn't see the first wave of like the beacon systems, all that. I saw just the IntelliGen come in for the walk-in boxes, and then now
mhm,
EcoNet. And I'm still trying to figure out how they work because that's another thing I tell people, like, you got to study that equipment or that brand that you work on, because
mhm.
every brand does the does it a different way. Like ice
Yeah,
machines, there's so many different brands, and they make ice
that's
so many
one.
different
Yeah,
ways. You got to learn how each one works. The timing, the cycles, how the ice is dropped, all that kind of stuff is different. And you're seeing that on refrigeration stuff now too. Different ways they defrost, different ways they run their fans. So I had that with the other week actually, with the board, brand new board put in, and the fans never came up to full speed. And I'm like, all right, maybe you have to let it run. Like, I'm not sure. And someone did mention to me that some ECM motors stay low speed if the CFMs are not correct or something like that. I was like, I don't know, because there was a little bit of ice buildup that I had to defrost, and I was like, I don't know, but I was like, let it run, and then sure enough, it never worked. So I called tech support, and it's like, no, you got bad motors and a bad board. So I was like, all right, and the board's brand new, like defective board, I guess. So I mean, there's not much I can do. It is what it is on electronic. You got to tell the customer, you got to wait
yeah,
for a part.
yeah.
So
We've got some bigger LG units at a library that just got put in, and it was one of the other techs that went. But from what he told me, they've had to change boards and stuff. They call tech support and they're like, "Well, this is bad or this is bad." And you wouldn't think that would be the case on brand new equipment, but
no,
I mean, some of these boards, a little bit of static electricity takes them out. So,
yeah, I try to be ultra careful when I'm putting a new one in, and
hmm
you have to think that they're tested somehow, because someone asked me about coating them. I was like, they should come pre-coated. I mean, I never asked the manufacturer straight up, but you can tell that they're slightly coated. But I'm talking about like the ones that are in the walk-in box, right? Because those are meant to be around
hmm
ice or frost and stuff like that. So I'm
yeah,
assuming they're coated. It's just they wear out for different reasons. Now, in when they test them, is in a perfect condition box, right? Like, it's maintaining temp. It's the door's not open that much. Like, is it in a
hmm
perfect environment? Because in my experience, what I tell like guys that I talk to online, like the cooks, the managers, like they abuse the hell out of these this equipment. Like you see doors that are warped. And I always like to get there, and if I can, just kind of like walk into the back and try not to announce like, "Hey, I'm here." Try to walk into the back, see what's going on. I've caught them propping the doors open with a chair. I've caught them kicking the doors. I've caught them like doing all crazy crap to it. And you can see like on some of them where they have like these like not holes, but like they're dented in because they're kicking them or punching them or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what causes a lot of issues is like the wear and tear that they put on this stuff. And then the equipment
Yeah, I
itself
mean,
just cannot keep up because it's broken or some way, you know.
well, I mean, leave the door to your house open and see if your AC keeps up in the middle of the day, you know?
And
It's
eventually
not
like
gonna.
yeah, and eventually you're gonna kill a compressor or something, right? Like that stuff
Hmm.
happens for a reason. I also want to thank our new sponsors, CallRail. So I've been more into marketing and just online presence with our business, even though we only do commercial. Word of mouth is really good for any business. But once you get to a place where you want to be, a big name online or just anywhere, be recognizable, like I said, online presence, have a nice website, be able to be searchable in Google and all these different search engines, and just have a big presence. You need to know where to spend your money. And all I'm going to say is that CallRail can help you track that if that's something that you're interested in. CallRail can tell you, hey, these are not working so much. These are working really good. Stop spending your money here. Put more money and effort into this. And just be smarter about what you spend. So make sure you go by callrail.com. They do have a no risk free trial and you can check it out for yourself. I also want to thank another new sponsor, Residio. Basically, they help with a sustainable home and they make it a safer, cleaner, and smarter home. They have so many things that work together. They were showing me the new thermostats that they have going on, how it's implemented together, and all these different little, smart devices that connect and talk to each other. So if you want to learn more, head over to residio.com and check it out for yourself.
You were talking about, the electronic stuff. That's I'm kind of 50-50 on it, because
Me
factories
too.
and stuff. That you talk about abusing equipment. You go into a factory, and there's just I've changed filters, man, that look like somebody took baby powder that was just solid
Mm,
black and just
yeah.
dumped it on them, all the stuff, especially some metal forming places.
Oh yeah.
It's just
Like
rough.
I don't see that, but like when I walk into a place that does like fried chicken and pizza, it's all the dough, all the flour that gets tossed around.
Hmm.
And the first thing I check is the condenser on any of the coolers or freezers in there because they're usually on the floor level and it's just sucking up all that stuff. And sure
Yeah.
enough, I tell people like if you go there, like any of my guys, like check that first because usually it's caked with flour or something, and
Yeah.
they don't think about these things. That's what I was gonna say earlier. Is you would think they would want PMs or be pretty on top of it, but they're not. I can't tell you how many places around here don't even do ice machine PMs, and those are the worst. You'll see the gunk build up in there pretty bad, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I noticed that with the one at the parts house, but
Oh
the
yeah.
difference there was I thought, well, at least this ice is mostly getting used of like guys coming in filling their coolers up, they're not like
Oh
putting it in drinks at least.
no, just working in a restaurant, you see a lot of weird things, and I don't know how they pass their inspections, but I mean, I don't know. The ice machines are the worst around here. I've been trying, and it's good for business, like the maintenance stuff. So I've been trying just to educate customers, and usually that's enough to get them to sign on for maintenance. Like, I came
Hmm.
out for a bad compressor. Hey, your condenser's plugged up. Like, there's a reason this compressor gave out or this fan motor. And you
Hmm.
just educate them, give them the options, and let them decide. And We have one that is, or two that are on top of everything. So like that's a good one. And some of the other local places are starting to invest in their maintenance. So it's just the probably the biggest account that we have is the one that is like, yeah, we'll do it soon, and they haven't. And like all their drains are backed up on the ACs, all their ice machines are filthy. Their walk-in boxes, we're having to replace them all because they're all falling apart. Like they don't maintain their stuff, and they're the biggest account that we have, but they're probably the stingiest.
Yeah. Yeah, that is something that you see a lot with factories too, is there's some of them, we've got a handful of them that do PMs, but when you find something wrong, they're all about the cheapest way to fix it. They don't, you got a coil with a leak in it, and they're like, well, can you just patch it?
Yeah.
And I mean,
Oh,
sometimes you can, but
we had one that they told our guy. Our guy said that it had several leaks. I didn't get to go out there. I wish I had. And the owner of the restaurant was like, "Just top it off. I don't care. Just I want it topped off." Like he was stubborn about it. It leaked out like a week later or something. Like it was low. It didn't completely leak out. And he's like, I told you. And no, the restaurant owner just cussed out all of our guys that were there
of
and
course.
started, and then went and left like a horrible review and this and that. I'm like, what the hell do you want me to do? At that point, I was like, I wish I had been there just to kind of talk to him, because my guys
I think
probably just told him and did it and then left. I'm like, I don't know. There's no way around it with customers like that, unfortunately.
I remember you mentioning that situation somewhere else. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
it was
It
probably
may
on
have been on
nights.
here with someone, but
It was probably on nights because I think I ranted about it.
okay, yeah, that may have been
Because
it.
my
But yeah,
cousin started working for us, and he was on that job, and he got cussed out too, and he didn't even do anything.
innocent bystander.
Yep. But I mean, what can you do? I was like, I don't really care. I was like, that, and it was a local place that only has like one or two restaurants here. I was like, it's fine. We have our big accounts. Every now and then we do local restaurants, but my dad's really not enjoying those. But I think it's also how you deal with customers. So that's why I
Yeah,
had made the comment that I wish I was there to try to mitigate the situation, because I deal with local places every now and then, because I got friends that know me, that know I do this, and they'll recommend me to a local little spot here and there, and I go,
hmm,
and they, some of them, I won't mention what kind of restaurants they are, but some of them are just rude by nature. And you got to
yeah,
understand that some people just come off like that, right? Or they're frustrated that they've already had several companies out there. We get that a lot already, and they're already upset by the time you get there, right?
yeah, and it's not
So
your
you,
fault. Like, but
yeah,
I try to put myself in their shoes. Like
exactly,
you've already spent money, you've already thought it was fixed.
yeah,
At this point, you're just sick of the situation. I get that.
and I get it too.
Like,
So like when I get out there, I just have an open mind and just try to educate them again, like tell them what I'm doing, kind of take them along the way, like we're gonna do this. Okay, I found this. You got options here with A or B or whatever, and I've had good luck with those kinds of customers, and that's something that I learned from my dad. Now my dad was upset, and I think he wanted to go and fight the guy, but that's the kind of my dad and my grandfather are like that, are always looking for a fight. But when my dad is at work in front of the customer, he instantly becomes their best friend, and he's really good at working with even some of the people that I'm afraid of. When I've gotten there, and like when I started, or like first half of my career, I was very intimidated by a lot of managers and people, because they're real hard asses, and you
yeah,
get there and they're talking to you like they're cussing and all this, all that, like complaining, and then you're like, oh, like how am I supposed to handle that? So I had to learn that from my dad, because he would always kind of like take in how they were, I guess, like read the room, kind of deal, and then like figure out how to talk to them. So that's something that I've been working on for a while now, and I think I finally got comfortable with it
Yeah.
because, like we said, like you don't know what the customer's been through at that point, and sure, you don't want them to take it out on you, but they're already frustrated. So I mean, defuse it and just do good quality work, and you have nothing to worry about.
Yeah. And it is kind of cool to be able to go and not let that get to you and just more or less be like, okay, hang with me for a minute
Yeah.
and you'll be happy by the time I'm done, you know?
Oh yeah, that's why I'm very like I'm happy with myself for like I said I've dealt with some tough customers locally, and I'm like, as long as I did the work, good quality work, and treated them well, like they have nothing to complain about, right? So I mean,
And if they do,
that's
that's on them,
yeah, there's nothing that
you
you
know?
did. So I mean, you're in the clear as far as I'm concerned. Did you have family that was in any of the trades, or did you just get in on your own?
My dad did industrial maintenance. So, I mean, more or less, people don't really think about that as being a trade, I don't think sometimes, but it is. I mean, it's really similar to what we do. They're just working on different types of equipment, you know.
Yeah, like even with maintenance and my level of work, I get along with them too because I'm like, there's some guys that I really admire that do the maintenance work because they can do a little bit of
Hmm.
everything, right? Like
Yeah.
they're not just fixing a certain type of equipment; they're doing like everything for that building or whatever it is. So I've had more respect uh, the longer I've been doing this for the maintenance guys, the good maintenance
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of places that we do work for, and I'll go in there and grab one of the maintenance guys, you know, at those places. Like, there's certain ones that you can grab and be like, "What's going on with it?" And
Mm-hmm.
most of the time, those guys know more or less. I mean, they're not going to sit there and diagnose it for you, but they can tell you exactly what it's doing enough to really help get you started in the right direction.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's cool because if I, you know, if they started telling me about what a robot on the line was doing, I would just be like, I have no idea what you're talking about, man.
Yeah. So then, did he get you into it, or were you interested in like from seeing him, or what was it?
I was always like interested in working on stuff, um, probably just from being around him and, you know, hearing about it and seeing him work on stuff too. Um, and he just kind of suggested try to get into something that you know will be around, that you know you can find work in. I grew up playing music, and like at a certain point in my life, of course, that's what I really wanted to do. I think you mentioned like wanting
Wait,
to play sports, you
so
know,
we all have that
uh,
moment, yeah.
and you know, he wasn't. My parents weren't not supportive of it, but they were also like, "That's pretty risky. Should
Yeah.
probably get into something as a plan B or whatever you want to call it, so that you've got that, you know."
Oh yeah,
And
because
then
my
I
dad
started
did.
it and just kind of,
My dad was an electrician. I never thought about it like trades at all, and I had the same. I think everybody that unless you're super talented and it can take you places because even Mark from the last episode, HVAC marksman, was
hmm,
successful in music, but you never know what can happen because COVID shut him down because he was about to
yeah,
tour and do all this crazy stuff. He's like, I would have been set if all that had went through, and your life can
yeah,
go upside down like real quick in certain
mm,
industries.
yeah. So when COVID hit, I was working for a pretty small company at that time, and it really slowed things down even for us. And so it kind of slacked off to the point where they had to lay a couple people off, you know, and I was doing service at the time, but I wasn't the most experienced in it. So I guess I got the lucky draw on some of that, you know. So I did actually do some music stuff for like a couple years there, and that was pretty much what I did, other than some side work and stuff like that. And then it just, I was making some money at it here or there, but it wasn't a living. It wasn't like
Were you
sustainable.
a musician, or what kind of music?
Yeah, yeah. So I grew up playing fiddle. Uh, I started
Really?
out playing bluegrass.
Oh, okay.
So I've I've done other stuff, some country stuff and what have you, uh, kind of outlaw stuff, and it's all fun. I still play sometimes for the fun of it, but
No, that's cool. Um,
that's kind of I shifted gears on that away from trying to take it too seriously, and that's like my fun thing now.
well, yeah, I mean, you can make it your hobby or your fun thing because that's what happened with me too. Like you said, I know I mentioned I think we all have that realization at some point. Like I said, if you're not super talented or in a position to make a living on those kinds of things, like you shift to something that's sustainable or in demand, like HVAC and the trades. But yeah, I had that mindset too about sports because I was pretty good at it and I played a lot locally, and I wanted to do more with it. And then I tore my knee up, and it's like, well, I can't do that anymore. And
Yeah,
I was pretty good with computers, so like I did help my dad once he started his business to try and figure out just like the billing side, the document side, the advertising, all that kind of stuff. That's how I got into it. And then I started going along with him running parts for what he does. And then I got into HVAC later. So, yeah, I think we all have that, or a lot of us that are in it now had that realization at some point. And it's like, what do you want to do with your life, right? And now I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, I enjoy
same.
what I do, and I think it's like you said, it's something that you can do for the rest of your life if you need to,
Hmm.
in any way, because like I personally don't want to be in the field, my entire career. I would love to
Yeah,
train, supervise, that kind of stuff. So you can, or you can go work at a supply house, or for any other company in any other aspect when you get older. You don't have to beat yourself up the rest of your life either.
yeah. I've thought, right now I want to be in a van. I want to
It's
be
hard for me to
working
get
on
out
stuff.
right now. I've been trying
Yeah,
to, but it's very hard. And my dad went through the same thing. Like I'm still trying to get him out of the field right till this day.
I have thought though at some point it would be nice to kind of learn or start getting my feet wet in like controls, because you're still going to be out in the field some to set things up, but I feel like it's not as labor intensive. But
Yeah,
there's a lot that goes into that stuff, man.
yeah, because I don't know if we mentioned it recording, but like I've been trying to work out. Now my girlfriend asked, like, because I have an Apple Watch, right, and it 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 depends on who's wearing it as far as like how it tracks you, because like with her, she's a teacher, she walks a lot and this and that, so like she gets a good amount of steps in, and minute, and what do you call that, exercise minutes, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Me, because it's already gotten used to what I do, I guess it doesn't give me any what do you call it, exercise minutes or anything while I'm at work. I'm working like eight
same,
hours,
man.
6 to 8 hours, and like it doesn't pick up anything. She's like, what do you get? What did you get today? And I was like, 1 minute. I was like, I've been up and down
Yeah,
ladders all
dude.
day.
Yep. I guess I don't. Sometimes it feels like I'm, you know, killing myself, but I
I
don't
was
know
gonna
if our
say,
bodies just kind of get used to it, like you're climbing a ladder, and I don't know if our heart
well, I
rates
think,
just don't even move.
yeah, I was gonna say it's I think it's a heart rate thing, or it knows that's your, or it's trying to say
Your
that's your
baseline.
normal, yeah, your baseline. But I was like, yeah, like some days I feel like I'm passing out, and then I get like 5 minutes. That's when I know I got a good workout.
Yeah,
Um,
right. Yeah. I got a whole 5 minutes today.
yeah, but I've been trying to work out, but like I tried a year ago doing some other stuff, and I pulled my back just working out. And then this year, I don't think I was working out. I think I pulled my arm somehow because now my bicep hurts, and that's like the most used muscle at work. I can't like I gotta lift things,
Yeah.
setting up the ladder, the extension ladder all the time. So that one, I think it's barely going away. I've had it for a few weeks now, but um, it's tough, man. Like mentally and physically, the trade can be tough. It's very rewarding in my opinion, but you got to be
Yeah.
ready for it.
Yeah. I mean, I get frustrated if I go to a call and even if I know what's going on, if there's like nothing I can do for it at that time, it's frustrating because I want to walk away with it running, you know?
Yeah, I get it.
That's the good feeling for me is like, hell yeah, I showed up and this wasn't doing anything and now it's chugging along.
Yeah, when when she asked like, "How was your day? A good day, a bad day?" If I if I have to go back or I had to tell the customer something didn't work, bad day. But like the other day, I had a really good day because I fixed a few different freezers. I fixed some AC units, and I was like, I knocked out all my calls, and I fixed them all. I closed all my tickets. I was like, that was
Yeah.
a damn good day, and a good feeling for me.
Yeah, even if you're dead tired, if you got, if you had a day like that, that's acceptable,
Those are
like
those are the
it's
good
worth
ones.
being that tired.
Yeah. Because I didn't want to do some of those last calls, and then like sure enough, was able to fix them. A lot of airflow issues right now, and found them, figured it out, got them cooling, and I was like, I'm tired, but it feels good.
It's a good tired.
Oh yeah. So like, have you ever felt comfortable like doing what you do? Like, yeah.
I'm getting to that point now, with the shift into commercial and
Yeah, I was gonna say
industrial
you
stuff.
changed your
That was a
path.
setback there for a bit on comfortability, but I'm getting there again with it. Um, I mean, if they tell me I've got a call somewhere or whatever, I don't like wig out the whole way there, wondering what it's going to be or, oh my God, is this,
Oh, that because that is a
what is
point.
this equipment?
That's a point that I made one time with somebody. Um, man, I think it was somebody from TikTok. I think that refrigeration man. Oh man, what are you on TikTok?
Yeah,
Refrigeration man, right? The one that's
I
our
think,
HVAC.
I think so. I'm kind of like you on
I
it. I'm not,
can't remember
there's
his
so
name
many
right now.
guys out there now that
Yeah, I
make
cannot remember
videos,
his name, but he did some funny video about like stressing out on the way to the call. And I think he made that comparison where like you're stressed out when you start, but now it's like whatever, give me whatever. He's like laid back. I was like
Yeah,
that's a damn good point because when I started, that was me every day just like, "Oh shit, what am I getting myself into? What it could be this,
constant
could be that."
anxiety.
Like, yeah, anxiety the whole drive. And then now I'm just like, give me the call. I'll run over there, figure it out, get to the next one. I kind of also when I get the call, because we do get emails and they're supposed to leave a description or a complaint. So if they do,
Yeah.
then I can kind of have an idea of what it is. And I try to give myself like these times. Like if I don't figure it out in an hour, then we might need to do a follow up or this and that. Like I give myself, depending on what it is and where it is, I try to schedule out my day like that. So now I'm
Man, and
pretty
I especially,
well,
sorry,
it's
go
just
ahead.
yeah, it's just now that I'm pretty confident in like if it's this equipment, it takes me this long. If it's that equipment, it takes me that long. Where before, I stressed out on the drive, and then it might have taken me all day to do like figure out one problem.
Hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say, especially with the bigger equipment or chillers, Liebert systems, and like IT rooms. And I can imagine ice machines are probably the same. Tech support is your best friend sometimes because those guys know that equipment forwards and backwards. I mean, that's what they deal with every day, you know?
I Yeah, I used to hate calling tech support, and I don't know, I just didn't like dealing with it. And I was like, I have to know this. I have to figure it out. Now it's like I give it like a couple of attempts, and if I don't know, I'll call real quick. And I appreciate the tech support that answers really, because I was surprised by the Russell one that I just called, because I was like, oh, I set my phone down, I put it on speaker because I'm like it's probably gonna be a while, and they instantly picked up. I was like, oh shit. So
Wow.
so I just asked my questions real quick, and I'm like, all right, thank you. That's all I needed.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I don't like calling them because, like you say, it's
Well,
usually such
you
a
can't
hassle to
be
get through, and
well. Not only that, you can't be like you need to take advantage when you can and learn from tech support, like what they like. They're gonna ask you for the same things, right? The readings, all that kind of stuff.
hmm
So that got me better as a technician from when I used to call and get chewed out for not having this information to now like that's my normal thing to do now. But don't be that guy that is always on the phone because you don't know what you're doing,
yeah,
because we've seen those guys get a lot of complaints, and it's like you can't rely on tech support. It's just another tool if you get
yeah.
stuck or you need to know some more information.
I try to call them for really specific stuff. I had a Liebert system in a IT room at a factory recently, and I kind of looked through everything and found, I don't know why I didn't check this more or less first, but after a couple of minutes, I found out that it was low on refrigerant. I don't like to not look for anything and just slap gas into something,
Oh
even if
yeah.
they need it back up and running pretty quick. So I called Emerson and was just like, hey, this is the unit I'm looking at. Where's the trouble spots for leaks?
Okay.
Where are these things known to leak at? And he gave me three or four spots that I checked. Didn't find them there. Ended up being in the condensing unit on the roof. But
I'm surprised he's like, are you kidding me? None of our units leak, because
yeah, yeah,
he was honest.
yeah, no,
I love those tech support guys that are honest.
yeah, it's definitely actually helpful if they'll give you the scoop
And that
instead of
yes, and that's another reason I tell people to use tech support is that they know all the problems that they've encountered over and over and over, right? So like I will
hmm
call tech support sometimes just to ask them, or in conversation it usually comes up anyway, like what are some of the issues that they've had, because I had one that I called for, I think, and usually I'm calling to verify something that I already found. It's just I'm not 100% sure, right?
yeah,
And there was one that I called, and it's like, oh, we've actually stopped using that controller. It's under warranty. We'll just send you the new updated controller, right? So I'm like, oh, I didn't even
yep,
know that was a thing. Like I was trying to figure out like what was wrong with it, and then he mentioned that they have since switched the type of controller they use. I was like, okay, cool. You never know, like unless you call for these common issues, or I think even one, it might have been that one. There's been a couple that I call, and like there's stuff that is not in the manual as far as like codes or special settings or passwords, that you can only get through tech support. So they've shown me some hidden
yeah,
menus before, or hidden things before, and I'm like, oh, okay. Wouldn't have known that. I went through all your manuals.
yeah, yeah. Just reading for ages, not finding anything about it.
Yeah, and then they
Um,
have their gatekeeping over there.
yeah,
Um,
I've got a customer that I do work for that has a bunch of semi trailers with MRI machines and stuff, you know, and those things have some of those have chillers on them that are mounted on the front of the trailer, and like Northern Air is one of the manufacturers, and that's one of those units that if I were to get too deep into something with that, I would definitely just call them because You've got all this stuff packed into this little cabinet in the front of a semi trailer. Like
Oh yeah.
it's just not normal equipment.
No, and if you can get a hold of tech support, that's like a little class for you as well. Like they're gonna walk you through,
Hmm.
what to check and what it should be and all that kind of stuff.
My little
Yeah.
guy, he's at that point now. He's walking pretty good. He's starting to talk a little bit, and like he's just crazy, man. If he's awake, he's going. He goes until he falls down, just
Man. Yeah.
done.
My son was the same way. The problem with him is he's hyper, like nonstop. Like this kid can be out all day, and from when he was a baby till now, like, and he will not go to sleep. Like that's his thing. He doesn't like going to sleep. So not only was he so hyper, he's also very clumsy. So the problem is when he was little, and he still does it now. He gets injured in some way randomly. Like
Yeah.
he's, and I'm so glad that we don't have stairs here because we had stairs at our last house. But like, uh, just the other day, I think I mentioned it somewhere at some point. Like he sneezed so because he has allergies. He sneezed so hard and he busted his head open on the counter. I was like, dude, are you kidding me?
Man.
Like I was
Oh,
about to drop him off at his mom's because I think I had to go into work, and it was like sometime that he was with me. Something was going on. I don't remember if it was like a Sunday or what. I was gonna take him back to his mom's, and then he goes and pulls that as we're about to leave. I was like, dude. So I had to rush him to the emergency and all that, and then it it's a kid. They have CPS in there, and how did this happen? And it was a fun day for sure.
that's one of those where like I can only imagine when you tell them the whole time it's coming out of your
Trying to
mouth,
explain,
you're like, there's no way they're gonna believe that he
yeah.
sneezed. They're like, oh yeah,
I
he
was like,
sneezed, huh?
thankfully he's a little bit older now because I was like, go ahead, because I think they had to question him like while I step out and all that.
Yeah.
I was like, go ahead. I was like, he knows what happened. He can talk now. Go ahead and ask him because I was like, I don't think you're gonna believe me if I like when I tell you. So let him tell you.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Yep.
he gave himself a pretty good gash. He had stitches and everything. I was like, dude, like,
Man.
geez, like right there, right above his eyebrow, just big
I actually
gash.
got one there when I was a kid, but it was like
Well,
totally
now he
my
has
fault.
one. Now he has one on each side, because like he had gotten one already from when he was a baby, uh, and that was a horrible hospital trip too.
Dude, I was a kid, just being a little boy, just like the dumbest things you can think to do. My grandpa had been making some wind chimes and he had like this metal pipe that he was cutting down to lengths. And there was one probably this long. And I decided it was going to be awesome to set a piece on the steps of his little workshop and leave about this much hanging off and take this little, probably, 1 pound sledge and hit the end of it and make that thing go flying. And it did right into my forehead with this like raw
Oh,
edge
really?
that had been cut. Dude, yeah, it was they for some reason it cut pretty clean, so they were able to use like the glue
Oh
stuff
yeah,
instead of stitches. But yeah, didn't do
man.
that anymore.
Hey, you learn not to do it again, but yeah, like I was that kid that was always outside too. Like I've gotten hurt, but I feel like my son has like gotten into worse things because like I said, he already had a gash on the one eyebrow. That one they did have to use glue because it was just a clean cut, and it was horrible because like the glue. My son has always been strong. They even mentioned that when he was born because he had to be like in the NICU because he had trouble
Hmm.
breathing and stuff, and they had a hard time with him as a newborn. Like he's always been really strong and he still is. And when we took him for that gash, they actually got the glue in his eye and everything because they couldn't hold him down, I guess. Or like I had to step out and they were doing that. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So he had the glue that time. This time that he went, he needed stitches because it was like when he hit it, it looked like it, went in different ways, a little gash, the little cut.
Yeah.
So he had to get the stitches, but thankfully it's healed and it's like you can't really see it anymore. So I was like, dude, you're gonna mess up all your face at this point by the time you get older.
Just
Uh,
adds character, man.
of course, you got to have character. Oh, the other thing I was gonna mention earlier that I forgot was when I had brought up the board issue. I had somebody message me and they're like, you gotta love when it's a new part and you're driving yourself crazy and you start questioning yourself as a technician, which I've had a few times. I don't know if you've ever had
Yeah.
a bad part out of the box. It's already happened to me a handful of times. I feel like it's happened
Hmm.
more now than it used to, but I'm like, did I miss something? Because this can't be bad. My whole fear is like putting in a new compressor, putting in a new system, and it doesn't work the way it's supposed to. Like they're still complaining, right? And then
Yeah.
you go and look, and it's like, oh, I didn't check this, I didn't check that.
Hmm. And that you're talking about slowing down, I think that was a like a big milestone for me. Like that's when things got easier is when I understood don't take forever on something, but take your time.
Mm-hmm.
I man, actually, I just thought of it. There's a Instagram page, and this dude runs it. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty sure it's called Code of the West. But he had a post yesterday that said, "Slow is smooth, smooth is fast," and that's I like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
For showing up and working on stuff. Like don't drag your feet, but don't
Yeah,
rush and miss things. And
I think that was my whole thing too, because obviously, whenever you start, it's gonna take you longer. It might take you all day, but that's how you learn. But you
hmm
get better, you get more efficient, you get faster. But that doesn't mean you need to be, because some guys are out there like, oh, I run like 10, 15 calls a day. I was like, did you really, actually like fix something, or make sure
how many of
it
those
was
you gonna go back on?
how many callbacks you got, right? Yeah. Because I can guarantee you, every time I've rushed or purposely like left before making sure it worked, I've always been called back. Like it's inevitable.
Hmm.
If you don't make sure or double check, most times you're going to get a call back. So I've learned to slow down. I hate when I'm in a rush because I know something's going to go wrong. That's just the way it is,
Yeah,
right? That's the way the trade works. So I've always tried to slow down, take my time, and when you learn that, I think that helps you a lot as a technician in your day to day. And I try to preach it with the guys because I can see them trying to run 100 miles an hour, and I'm like, I don't need. It's not the quantity; it's the quality. It always comes down to that, because I would much rather them do the best job that they can and not get to all their calls, and we can push them over to the next day, versus a
yeah,
bunch of like sloppy calls or callbacks. So slow
yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah. Back to that whole other thing. Running wild is not how you get things done quickly. Um,
Yeah.
Taking your time and practicing and doing it enough that you can do it calmly is how you get faster at it for sure.
Yeah. I don't want to keep you too long. We've had a great conversation. You're on Instagram, TikTok, anywhere else?
I do have a YouTube channel, but I haven't managed to like post a lot on there. Like I would love to do more kind of in-depth videos on there at a point. I just haven't managed to, get much of that done. It's also, you film things for TikTok and Instagram and like this vertical,
Yeah.
like for someone to be sitting there looking at their phone and YouTube, it just doesn't come across well if you don't film it
Hey,
in
now
portrait. So,
now
or,
if you have it under if it's under 3 minutes, you can do YouTube Shorts because they've extended it to
hmm
3 minutes, and you can go about it that way. There's a
okay.
bunch of channels that are just shorts because they're trying to get into
Yeah.
the TikTok market. So there's always that if you can just repurpose the videos. The heat reject. Is there any reason for that name behind that name, or just sounded cool?
Uh, I mean, it mostly comes from heat rejection, which is,
Which is
you
always
know,
a fun conversation, right? It's like, when you think about it, that I think that's another way that it clicked for me is like the whole heat transfer concept of what we
hmm
do. We don't make things cold. We reject heat. We
yeah,
transfer the heat out of the house, out of the conditioned space. And our teacher would always drill that into us. And then like he's like he would get after people when they would talk about cold or how cold something is. They're like, it's not
making
cold.
something cold.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he was like, he would always snap. He's like, it's not that. It's like, it's not cold. You're not making it cold. You're removing heat, or it's the absence of heat. Like that was, it's always in my
hmm
head, and it's always a, it's always a fun conversation when you can talk about it. But um, the heat reject on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I'll make sure to leave all that down below. Is there anything else you kind of wanted to leave with on the episode?
Um, back to what we were talking about, I think before we started, we've got all these younger guys going in, and like I've heard you talk about the day in the life of the 19-year-old tech.
Yeah.
Um, Man, if you're one of those guys, stretch before you do stuff because
um,
now I've got this stuff going on with my back, and I was just walking some joists, and now I'm shuffling my feet like an old man. So
I don't know what it is, man, but yeah, I feel like I pull everything real quick. I tried to show up my brother one time to carry some a compressor. I think pulled my back for like 2 weeks.
yeah, if I
Don't be
if I had advice to give, I think it's just to take care of yourself because
take
this
yeah,
trade can hurt you, if you don't think about what you're doing.
take care of yourself and don't be stupid.
Yep.
Um, and I've been doing this with a bad, actually two bad knees. I've torn my ACL. I've had what I would say a botched repair. I had to get it repaired a couple times, and I don't even have full range of motion in my left knee, so I can't. You can imagine it's a little takes a little extra work to get into certain spots because I have like a
hmm
what I would consider like a bum leg, and I can if I can do it, you can do it. Just be conscious about your body. Like I started using kneeling pads and knee pads on my
Yeah.
pants and stuff. Covering up for the sun has been a big thing. I remember Lance from Solderwell had to go get something taken care of because it was like skin cancer related, and it was
Yeah.
like on the side where he drove, so it was just from the sun hitting him the whole time. And you don't think about those kinds of things, right? So cover up and
No.
take care of yourself.
Yeah, that's something I kind of am trying to do better about this year. I saw where you posted about the sleeves, and I was like, I might actually try to get some of those and use them.
Yeah, like I used to always wear them, because like there's other brands that do them. Like I think they're fishing sleeves is what they are. Like a lot of this stuff is
hmm
like actually for fishing. Like the long sleeves that like HVAC Tactical does now. I think those are inspired from like fishing long sleeves, all that kind of stuff.
hmm
So like I never liked long sleeves. I still don't. I still try to do the short sleeve with my arm sleeves because I can take them off. But we
Yeah.
started buying polyester long sleeve shirts with hoods, and just without thinking about it, I'm already covered. So like it's helped tremendously. It's like, and then if you can stay out of the sun is another factor in your frustration, in you getting tired, right? So if you can keep the
Yeah.
sun off of you, you can work a little bit longer, more clear mind. It believe me, when I started taking care of that aspect, because I was up there in a short sleeve, whatever uniform we had, and no hat sometimes. Like I was really stupid, and
Just
I got frustrated.
bacon.
I was just baking and frying my mind basically. So now I can work better. now that I'm more conscious about it.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Sorry.
Thanks for having me. No, you're good. I started watching the podcast and you know watching nights and all that stuff, and it's cool to actually be on here with you. So I appreciate it.
uh, thanks again for the story. Like, there was a lot of good things that we covered, and I mean, that's the whole point of this, is to just get a little peek into everybody's day to day, and like at work, outside of work, because we all have a life. We all have, like,
Yeah,
you have a new son, a new baby, right? Um, and there's more important things than just work. So
yeah,
hopefully everybody understands that. And thanks again, man.
yeah. Thank you.
Appreciate everybody for watching and listening. And we'll see you guys on the next one.